I was expecting a new iPad Pro to be coming out very soon, but I was expecting it maybe to be early 2023, not right now, so I'm going to be talking about right now the differences between the new 2020 version of the iPad Pro versus the iPad Air 2022 version. As we already knew before the iPad Pro 2022 version came out, the iPad Air was definitely the reigning champ when it came to the best value for money. But now that the new iPad Pro has got its main difference that you're going to see across the board, which is the M2 chip, which Apple claims is about 25% better. Based off of outside benchmarks, it's about 18% better, and the main issue really is that it kind of gets throttled down because of the lack of fans, for example. So overall, it's not too much better than the M1 chip, so you're not getting that much extra in that department. However, the chip was actually what I would class as the most disappointing part of the entire reveal, which I will go into in a moment. And besides that, the only noticeable differences outside of the processor is going to be the display, the cameras on the back of the iPad, and then as well as that, instead of having a fingerprint scanner like you do on the Air, on the power button, what you're actually going to be getting with the Pro, same as normal, is Face ID. Which is something that I'm kind of surprised they haven't already brought to the MacBook Pros. It's just a little bit of an odd one that they haven't done yet. And then the iPad Pro comes with their XDR display built in that you can get on the 11 and the 12.9 inch. The 12.9 inch has a slightly better display. Neither one of them are technically 4K, however, they definitely look like it. With the iPad Pro, you're getting 120Hz refresh rate instead of the 60 that you're going to get with all the rest of the iPad lineup, which is kind of disappointing. I kind of wish that there was a bit more customization. For example, I'd love an iPad mini with maybe a little bit less battery life if it had to go and, let's say, get rid of that for other things and have something like an M2 chip in that instead. I just think it would be a cool random quirk to be able to do. Now, the main thing before buying either one of these tablets is figuring out why you need it in the first place. Most people don't need an iPad Air, let alone an iPad Pro. So if you're a student and on a budget, I'd probably say maybe the new iPad might be a shout for you, or the iPad Air, depending on if you need that little bit extra power. But for the mass majority of people, the Pro just isn't worth the extra like £250–300. But the main thing to look out for before buying a tablet is Apple's pricing ladder, which basically goes with the following of, hey, you want to buy an iPad? Well, you want more storage, so you go for the higher storage option. Oh, well, we're now basically the same price as an iPad Air, but I want the more storage. So you kind of continue up this ladder of more storage, but slightly better specs over and over again until you were initially looking at spending about £400 and you're now spending £800 instead. So one of the big questions along this pricing ladder though will come down to the storage requirements. Like I mentioned a second ago, if you're looking at an Air versus a Pro and you don't really care about any of the other iPads, then this will definitely kick in for you, which basically means you have the option of either a 64GB iPad Air or a 256GB iPad Air, which really, the value difference basically means that you're now jumping from £569 all the way up to about £700, I believe, as it gives you £50 leeway instead between the two of them. Now, one of the main things with the pricing ladder that you're going to notice if you are already going between the Air and the Pro is if you want that more storage. So if you want more storage than the 64GB, all you have as an option with the Air is 256, which then brings you to a £50 difference between an iPad Pro and the Air. So you can now choose if the extra cameras, the little bit better display quality, and the slightly faster chip is worth that £50. Which, if you're already looking to spend that sort of money anyway, £50 is going to be a very noticeable power difference in between these two iPads, or at least overall quality of life changes. However, when it comes to it, you will end up losing half of the storage, so again, you may end up falling prey into get 256 on the iPad Pro. One of the things that you really need to think about before you even go down this step is, did you really need more than 64 initially? For some people, it might be yes. I'd say for a lot of people who are students, probably. However, is that £250 price difference worth it just to get double the storage and some extra features that are a little bit better? I would then say no if you're now comparing the baseline Air with the baseline Pro. So before you do decide to buy this iPad Pro, you need to ask yourself a few basic questions. Like I mentioned, do you actually need this iPad? What are you going to be using it for? Are you a student? Are you someone going to be using it professionally? Or are you like me, who's going to use their iPad on occasion to maybe read some scripts for a YouTube video, watch YouTube videos, and play some Sudoku here and there? Am I really going to need an iPad Pro to do all of that? No, it's simply a waste of money. One thing to note though when it comes to the iPad Air currently is it was very sad to see, but they actually unknowingly upped the price. It's not really in any headlines right now, but they upped the price of the iPad Air by £100. So it's currently £669. Beforehand it was $569. So originally it was actually a really good deal considering everything. I think the only reason why this price difference has actually happened, Apple will probably say, well, inflation, we have to up the prices, when in reality I think it's just the case of because they've released a new Pro that now gives them a justified reason to have an actual increase in price. They can kind of get away of saying, you know what, if you want to enter our Pro lineup, you might as well look at paying us a bit more money. And their Pro lineup isn't just the iPad Pro, just to be aware of it. Yes, the Pro has the name Pro in it, but the Air is definitely that step up. It has the M1 chip, as the iPad Air for a very long time was basically an iPad Pro, just without the display. And maybe the cameras. If you're someone though who is actually creative, let's say you use Photoshop or Lightroom, I'd probably still say go with the iPad Air because it will do all of the exact same things as your iPad already does. And overall, you don't need a new Pro to do all those things. It's already been proven. It's got the M1 chip in it anyway, which the old MacBook Pros had as well. So we know that's a thing that doesn't need any form of actual power usage to get you Photoshop working or Lightroom. But one thing I would like to mention, because I saw it online, is that you can actually get some refurbished iPads or just brand new ones on a deal for about £100 extra above the price of an Air, which gives you basically for £100 extra, but you're not paying all of that extra like $250 for an iPad Pro 2022, you're getting almost identical features to the 2022 version, just the only difference is that it's an M1 chip instead of an M2 chip. It kind of seems like a no-brainer if you're willing to kind of just pay another company. I think Amazon have it for a decent price anyway, but overall it actually seems like a very good deal currently, the old generation iPad Pros, so that might be something worth considering. So please don't actually waste your money believing that you need the best of the best. I definitely used to be like that. I used to believe that, oh, I need this item purely because really, I definitely need it because I'm going to be making YouTube videos. Really, the only reason why I want an iPad Pro right now is because I'd find it an amusing test to see if I could run a whole YouTube channel off of an iPad Pro. That basically means I'll probably use it for about a week or two, or maybe a month. It'll never see the light of day ever again. Now lastly, what I do want to mention is actually what I was talking about earlier on about my disappointing side of it when it comes to the M1 to the M2 chip jump, which is basically we're going to end up with the same issue again when it comes to these iPad lineups as we had for almost a whole year, which is that where the iPad Pro is now just an M2 chip, personally I think they should have done an M1 Pro chip or an M1 Pro Max if you chose to. Yes, it would have taken up more room and they probably would have had to have got rid of a bit of battery for it. However, I think it would have been a better and safer bet overall than going for an M2 chip, because what's going to happen is when the new Airs eventually come out, which will probably be in like a year and a half to 2 years time, those iPads are going to have a £200 price difference, and again, all you're paying for is the same situation as we've had for the last year. You're paying for a slightly better screen, some extra cameras, and facial recognition. It doesn't seem worth it to me. I think they should have gone for an M1 Pro chip, but that's just me. If I was Apple, that's what I would have done, just so that it keeps that area of, okay, you're now entering this next level that is actually a significant power jump that most people would actually find use of. Anyway, with that all being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and do subscribe for more content on this channel. I upload primarily gaming content on this channel, so if you do love that and you want to see some tech videos every now and again, then make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.